20. Gary or Wayne? Or both?
I'll start and then I'll defer to Wayne. Basically, your planning board has requested that we as the town engineer provide some additional services relative to site plan post-construction inspections. The planning board is concerned that they're approving plans and some things are not getting constructed relative to either stormwater detention basins, parking lots, etc. So a letter was presented to the planning board back on March 5th, and essentially what it would do is it would add some cost to the fees to the developers already for this work. And just to give you a range of costs, a simple site plan would add $250, minor site plan $300, medium site plan $500, and a major site plan $850. And again, this was a request from your planning board. It is done in some other towns. We do it, for example, in the town of DeWitt, and it's something the planning board has requested.
We're going to need a public hearing for this, correct? Or no?
I don't think so. This is just, this is assessed by the board from time to time. You are allowed to change the fee schedule. And I think it was clear from what Gary said that this is not town-generated fees. This is to be posted by the developer as part of their application process.
That makes a big difference as far as I'm concerned. So this is gonna go
Yes.
to the developer.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it, only because the situations that have popped up in the past, we actually have no way of checking them. Elevations after the building's finished, things like that. Is the lot at the right elevation?
And I would encourage if the board doesn't have a copy of the letter that the planning board has, that you should have a copy of that if you haven't gotten it, so you see the types of services we're doing. I mean, it is a very limited service for that, but the planning board feels that it will go a long way to getting them what they're looking for.
And again, I've talked to Pat Leone about this, and it may be that it won't be applied to all projects. There may be some projects that are relatively simple or uncomplicated that it is not required. So it will be up to the more or less the discretion of the planning board and myself to determine where these will be applied. And if they ask for them and then they are not used, the money will be refunded to the developer. Just
the way you currently do. In
Okay.
other words, if all our deposits aren't used, we give it back to the
What do you need to,
If you're agreeable to it, you can approve it as presented.
Just one question for Wayne, is this going to have impact on workload in your office? And if so, how? Or is it all engineering?
I mean, really, in the past, it's been done, but maybe not as much as it should be. I mean, I haven't been involved in any real final inspections of these big projects, Gary, so.
Right. In the past, our office has had no involvement. I think what the planning board is looking for, and I don't feel comfortable speaking for them, but you can certainly speak to the numbers. I think what they're looking for is us to assist the code enforcement. They should already be doing this, but they're looking for, there's some things that maybe they don't feel that they have all the qualifications to do, or maybe they just need some assistance. Whether it's
Who doesn't have the qualifications?
Well,
Wayne's office or?
Yeah. I mean, there's some things like some of the grading issues or some of the stormwater quality basins where they may want some input from the engineer. And I think the planning board, quite frankly, is just looking for an extra pair of eyes so that they feel they're taking an awful lot of time to review these plans and request these items of developers. And this happens in every town. This is no reflection on Cicero. The developer goes out there, they bid these things, they give it to a contractor. If the contractor can get away with taking shortcuts, they do it. And so they're just looking for an extra pair of eyes to help out the code office and also in some areas where they may need some assistance.
I attended a planning board meeting where they were pretty pointed in saying that things had not been done according to the presented site plan, and they were just almost blatantly refusing to finish it off. So I think a little bit of help is not a negative thing. I think it's a good thing.
Well, it's not gonna be just so much detecting what they haven't done. We gotta have the strength somewhere to rectify what they're not doing.
Right.
You know, I don't know where that's gonna come from. It's not gonna come from the engineers, it's not gonna come, I mean, you can cite them and everything else, but somebody has gotta step up to the plate to make these people adhere to what the site plan calls for.
Well,
Bill, let me try to address that, and I'll tell you what we've done in the other towns, I'm sure Wayne will go along with this also. I mean, before they get their certification of occupancy, there's an inspection that's done. And I think the intent of this is that we would go out, and we're not gonna solve all the problems. If we see something, we are gonna point that out and give that list to Wayne. And generally, that'll be generated in a list, in a letter or some form of communication to the developer that includes the stuff that his department's looking at that we're not, specifically the building and whatever other issue, interior type things. And generally, that developer would not get the C of O until those issues are given, or the town could issue a temporary CO, and I'm gonna totally defer to Wayne on that, because it's really up to the town and his office as to how they handle that. I know in other towns, sometimes they would allow somebody a temporary CO if some of the items are minor, and they may even hold securities for them, but I don't wanna go there, because that's really Wayne's call as to how he wants to handle it with his department. So all we're gonna do is offer a little bit of assistance.
And the CO is for the building. It really does not apply to site work.
Right.
And, I mean, I would ask for Heather to see if it's legal to withhold a certificate of occupancy for a building because there's a tree missing out in the parking lot.
Let me say this. Before Jay left, Jay mentioned to me that he would like to see stronger provisions in your code, as in fines for non-compliance with a site plan, as opposed to non-compliance with a building that you can get a building permit for. He left, frankly, it's on, Wayne and I have a list of things that we're going to bring to your attention as things that we think you should consider revising in your code. That's gonna be one of them. Giving further teeth to people who don't comply with the site plan and not necessarily using the certificate of occupancy or certificate of completion, tying it necessarily to site plan, I guess.
And it may come down to securities. You know, on a large project, say like the Target project, they have to post securities in, you know, in the amount of, I don't know, 10% of their building permit fee or something. Just so we have something there,
To leverage.
to leverage, exactly. So, and like I said, that's something we've gotta work on.
Is it necessary to include the simple site plan? I mean, that's generally when you talk about a very, very small business. If they
Yeah.
want to, can you give me an example of a simple site plan?
Well, I can sort of just read you the definition. It's a project with no or very minor changes to the buildings, grading, site access, parking, utilities, lighting, landscaping, and other site features. It would generally consist of projects that are a change of use on sites with no previous site plan approval. And that's why the monies are staggered, because the planning board felt that they did not want to exclude any of these, because just because a site is small, there may still be things that they want to make sure that those things are being complied with. Again, this isn't our request, this is what your planning board has requested.
And this is not gonna be set against, you know, an individual person putting up a house on one block. You're talking about.
And that's what Wayne was saying, I mean, they're gonna be selective, a little bit selective. If there's something that doesn't need the inspection, they won't do it.
Okay,
Or for subdivision.
yes, I understand what you're saying, I know.
So where are we?
Need a motion?
Prove it as presented if you'd like to go forward.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second,
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Terwacki.
yes.
Mr. Ryback.
Yes.
Mr. Corral.
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski.
Yes.